Hello, we hope you're doing well. Welcome back to League of Legends news out there. A lot of breaking news this morning in the league scene, guys. I cannot wait, as well as currently, of course, as going on tonight as well. We're going to have play-in stages throughout this weekend. Do continue, and we're now down to our best of 5 matchups. We'll give you guys a full breakdown of that later in the back half of the episode, as well as a full breakdown of those matchups on Monday. But I hope you guys all enjoy some breaking news as of right now in League. This morning, just announced by Fnatic, they actually were polluting this for quite some time. Who's going to be the roster for 2019? And it will be their first player announced for that 2019 season will be Broxah. Now, I think that was probably a definite stone in that roster, maybe Reckless as well. The big question is going to be remaining, though, for 2 players out there to be either SOAZ or Bwipo, as rumors currently do state that one of those players will be removed from that roster due to budget restraints. And we're going to go back to that issue in a bit here, because it does seem, when it comes to the ecosystem of these leagues right now, it does seem for both NA and EU LCS, can these franchises, can these organizations actually remain a profit or retain that profit and continue on in the league? It seems to be a huge question going forward if the league is actually best presented for these organizations. We're going to talk about in a bit here how many teams are going to be leaving European side of things in 2019. But of course, bouncing off that, when it comes to SOAZ and Bwipo, choosing between the two, I think most of us would probably agree it's likely to be SOAZ, given his injury halfway through the split, as well as his swapping back and forth with him and Bwipo that being. And even when Reckless did come back, they swapped their top and bot lanes, and it was really SOAZ, the guy to be bounced around. If they needed him, yes, they would swap him back in, but it seemed like he was most happy, or would be most happy, somewhere else, and his talents can certainly be used. He's certainly one of the best laners there are, and definitely a great talent to go somewhere else. But it does seem, based off several tweets he put out there, the tweet on screen for all of you was actually very fastly deleted after it was first posted. He did say he would have a lot to say after the end of the year, and if that were true, if that maybe it was changed ever since then, but if that initial statement was true, it would be very likely he was actually going to be, maybe he was told he would be cut after this season, this 2018 season, no matter how well they do. Again, World's still going to play out for Fnatic. We're going to see how well that team exactly does, what actual roster, that 6-man roster, what swaps they do pertain to as well. But it does seem, if I have to choose between the two of them, either SOAZ or Bwipo, I think Bwipo is going to be a constant on that roster, especially given his rise in talent, his rise in popularity throughout the entire split. But more importantly as well, actually, several stories here leaked by Jacob Wolf of ESPN. His articles will be linked down below, guys. Some great news coming for a few organizations, and then some bad news coming for a lot more organizations in that European side of things. The first of which, a major CSGO organization. You guys probably have heard of them by now. They won our last major here as well. That's actually Astralis. According to Jacob Wolf, has been accepted, and they likely will actually have a team for that, which might be a really cool team to see as well. Allegedly, that amount was $12 million equivalent over at least a multi-year period. It could be 2 years, could be 3 years. Again, the specifications have actually been detailed as of right now. But on top of that, they've actually joined a long laundry list of teams who will be new teams to that league. There's rumors out there as to what exact organizations are going to be coming into the league scene itself. Nonetheless, though, I'm very excited to see what rosters they pick up, as there will be, sadly, plenty of options. Now, also according to Jacob Wolf, we have actually 3 brand new teams joining the list of 5 teams. Yes, 5 of the European side of teams. Franchises will not continue for that league franchising. Those orgs will leave, probably for good, and it's really sad to see this list actually be added to. First, it was Splice and H2K. H2K was definitely not a shocker based off their last 2 splits, their last split going 2-16. Although they did take to Twitter and say they'd be back stronger than ever. It seems for now that roster will not continue under that flag, at least not EU LCS. They might come back somewhere else, but definitely a disappointment there. So we have Splice, we have H2K, now 3 new teams. Yeah, it's going to be UOL alongside Giants Gaming, and very sadly, I think definitely a community favorite out there will be Rawcat, will now no longer continue next season into EU LCS franchising. They're going to be given a bit of a cut to actually have the exit fee a bit reimbursed, but still, nonetheless, also very ironically enough, these were for our summer split, our bottom 5 teams. Although you did see for Splice a small run there at regionals, they almost did make Worlds, and if they would have, this might be a different story. But it really does make you question the prolonged future of these NA LCS and EU LCS leagues. Are they actually profitable for these teams unless they're a top 5, unless they're a top 4, unless they go to Worlds? Can they actually continue? So we're going to see how this affects. I guess we're not going to really be able to tell until the next 2 or 3 years what these teams can do. Will this league continue to be profitable? And this does, of course, kind of revolve around the profitability of league itself. We've had Riot have budget cutbacks when it comes to Worlds, except they also announced their largest sponsorship with MasterCard. So conflicting opinions out there in the community as they take away budgets for production quality, and now it seems like these teams are also agreeing with the profitability of these leagues. It really draws questions about the future of League of Legends. And in closing, of course, tonight throughout the weekend, we do have our last 4 play-in stage matchups. The best of 5s do continue, and again, I think looking across the board, of course, Cloud9 and Gambit tonight, that's the one I'm going to be looking out for. I think across the board, when you see these matchups, the number 1 seeds are definitely probably favored in all these matchups by a quite considerable amount. I think, if not all, I think at least most of them, it's probably 3 of the 4 matchups, number 1 seed should go through Cloud9 being one of them. That's the one I'm going to watch for sure. Remember, Svenskeren was actually chosen over. It's going to be Blabber over Sven. Sven will be their substitute player if they do need him throughout the series, as well as no Golden Glue. He's not going to go to Worlds, but he will be there as a coach. So that's really cool stand-in to see there for Cloud9. It's been cool to watch them tweet out what their actual combinations are and kind of how that coercion works. Even though he will not be playing, he'll still be coaching and helping out the team as much as he can. So Cloud9 looking very dominant throughout groups. They go 4-0. I think besides them, the one team who probably look better would probably be G2. I think it's cool to see G2, a team where you're not really sure who the best player is, especially throughout their first 3 or 4 maps there. Yanko's a definitely considerable MVP there, as well as on top of that, Wonder on his tanks or his Akali. On top of that, even further, the flex picks between Wonder and Perks was amazing to see, and that team looked very dominant. Again, dropping 1 map throughout group play in that play-in stage, but also in their best of 1, their tiebreaker against Supermassive, looking very good. So I'm going to take Cloud9 and Gambit. I'm going to probably take Cloud9 as a heavy favorite there, and then we have G2 versus Infinity. On top of that, guys, we also have Edward Gaming against Detonation. If there's going to be any series which I think should be a blowout, it's probably going to be that one. And then following that, the closest series, in my own opinion, is going to be that last one, guys. Supermassive against G-Rex. G-Rex does go 4-0 in groups, but I don't think the strongest group out there. And I think, given the play styles of these teams, especially the lack of matchups, historically speaking, I think Supermassive have a chance for an upset. But again, throughout a best of 5, it's hard to actually favor the underdog in these matchups. Nonetheless, though, I am very excited to watch these best of 5s as these 4 final teams will be solidified throughout our main stage. And of course, come Monday, guys, we're going to break down those teams and groups and see which teams are actually going to be favored and how they played throughout their stages so far. But as always, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's League of Legends news. I'll be back Monday with some more. As always, my name is Jake, and I'll see you all then. Goodbye.